Hi, this is Christy with DeLong Rigging Solutions. We often use aluminum truss in the entertainment industry because it comes in a wide variety of sizes and has a variety of useful features for our purposes. Aluminum truss is lightweight, easy to transport, it can be pre-rigged with a variety of gear saving on time for load-ins and load-outs, and it gives a high strength-to-weight ratio. It's also easy to replace should a section be damaged, and it can be recycled. One of the most commonly used kinds of truss is the 12-inch box truss, sometimes also called utility truss. We also have truss versions that are designed to hold moving lights or much larger amounts of weight, like the 21-inch box truss. Typical lengths range from squares to be used as corner blocks, 5-foot length, 8-foot length, or 10-foot length. To get longer lengths, we bolt the sections together end to end using grade 8 hardware, typically with 5/8-inch bolts, split lock washers, and flat washers. We keep the bolts oriented in the same direction, so it's quicker to assemble and disassemble. Tighten the bolts to the torque recommended by the manufacturer. Some truss is connected using spigot joints that pin together, and then the pins are held in place by R-clips. Entertainment truss is made by many different manufacturers, so it's important that you know which manufacturer's truss you have and follow that manufacturer's instructions for that specific model of truss. Fortunately, almost all of that information is easy to find on the internet, on the manufacturer's website. We suspend truss by attaching it to chain motors using a device called a round sling. Sometimes they're called Spansets after a specific manufacturer, just like facial tissue is called Kleenex. There are two different versions of round slings, steel and synthetic. The core of the steel version has very thin wire rope wrapped round and round and round inside. And the synthetic version has a yarn of polyester fiber wrapped round and round and round inside. Both versions are covered by a polyester sleeve which helps to protect the core. Which version you use depends upon exactly where the round sling is being placed and the load it is holding. Most often, steel flex round slings are used to suspend a truss because steel flex round slings are more resistant to damage from pyro and hot lighting fixtures. Polyester round slings are often used for cable strain reliefs. Round slings come in different lengths, which are measured from end to end when pulled taut. Typical lengths we use are 3 feet for cable picks, 6 feet for truss, and sometimes 9 or 12 feet for stacking motors. Each round sling must be inspected as it is being used because they are easily damaged. Take a close look at the cover, and if that is in good condition, we can reasonably assume the inside is probably okay too. Check for snags, holes, abrasion, heat damage, chemical damage, damage from pyro, cuts, or knots. If you're not certain, ask the head rigger for advice. Round slings are also labeled by the manufacturer to let you know how much weight it can hold in which orientation. If the label is not legible or is missing, remove the sling from service. This one says that with the choke, it can hold 4,200 pounds. The strongest places on the truss itself are at the vertical panel points on the end, so we always want to put our slings at those locations. If you can't put it at a vertical panel point, look for the V-shapes of where these meet. We want to make sure that the label is not part of the wrap, so we're going to tuck underneath. And come up through that tuck. And snug it up right next to this V. You'll notice the sling is going straight down to the bottom pipe or the bottom cord of the truss. There are some types of truss that specifically require hanging from the top cord, for instance, Tyler GT truss. Manufacturers' recommendations for most truss types is to pick up from the bottom cord. Do the same thing on the other side, then connect the two slings with the bell of a shackle, like this. And pin together so it's finger tight. Once you've got this connected and you're sure your lines are coming nice and straight, lower in the motor to make the connection. I'm going to put the pin into the hook of the motor, and then slowly taking it out, keeping close eye on these to make sure that everything goes up in a nice straight line. And now you've floated your truss. Often we'll need to eat up some of the length of the sling, and we can do that by wrapping the top cord in addition to the bottom cord. You start out like we did before by wrapping the bottom cord and making sure that's nice and snug next to one of the V-points. Then we're going to wrap the sling around the top. Now, I'm old enough that I was taught to do this so that when you wrap through the top, you come through the center of your wrap. But the problem with this is it's difficult to keep it snugged and ensure that it has the same tension all the way through. It will tend to put tension here rather than letting it go down to the bottom cord. So the current way to do it is to wrap to the side. Again, keeping everything in straight lines as much as possible and wrapping so that it's not crossing itself. Let's say you're in a hotel ballroom with low ceilings and you need to get as close as you possibly can. You might be able to make additional wraps around the top cord or use another alternative wrap. But the best choice is to switch to a shorter round sling or a truss hanger bar from the truss manufacturer. There are other patterns of sling use that may be applicable. Again, check with the manufacturer for their recommendations. Please remember that DeLong Rigging Solutions one-shot training videos are meant as general information. Every system is different, every venue has different procedures, and even the same show in different places has different needs. All statements made make certain assumptions about systems and venue similarities. Nothing can replace on-site training with a qualified individual. If ever you have a question or concern about rigging, do not hesitate to reach out to us or another qualified vendor in your area.